I did an honorable mention on whatever happened to SpongeBob or Who Bob Up's what pants 2 years ago, and I still have a grudge to this special to this very day. Believe me, this is one of the most hateful things I have ever seen from SpongeBob, and believe me, I can't even tolerate even to watch this special like I used to. Well, to be quite honest, I lied. I never liked this special even when it came out, especially how poorly executed and completely unnecessary it is. Let me just point out that whatever you say about the SpongeBob specials, you at least had to take the limited a minute that they actually have a reason to exist despite the post-movie era is situation. Like Atlantis, which is actually good, the Truth of Square special, on 10th anniversary, understandable. But this one, it really doesn't even have a reason to exist whatsoever. Here's the thing. I really don't like the idea of this amnesia thing completely going in the way constantly in these kinds of situations. Especially how this is structured of what the characters do to SpongeBob. Let me just point out on what the beginning is set up. You see, it's kind of like the beginning of the best day ever, but like Mr. Mento said, a completely cruel twist. Everyone completely scolds SpongeBob because of accidents. Big accidents. And they don't even give a chance to even stop or calm down. Yeah, the writing is completely forced here. And the thing is that it literally doesn't even work in this situation. Why? Because even though that people completely respect it and like SpongeBob, well, except Squidward, should at least know not to snap hardly, even if it was an accident. Secondly, it's just completely forced. I mean, we just started this, and they could put in, like, in the first 2 or 3 minutes, SpongeBob is feeling miserable because of the mistakes that he did, and he left the Bikini Bottom. Seriously, it feels like every character is a robotic emotionless human being who's just forced to have emotions because writing. Do you see the problem with this? And then afterwards, when Sandy, Cheeks, and the other characters figure out what's going on with SpongeBob, they don't feel any guilty or anything of what they did. See the problem here? They literally don't even care about what happened today, and they just act like, well, it's just normal stuff. It's just happened to every single one of us. What's the big deal? You want to see why I despise mean-spirited crap like this? It actually expects us, the audience, to actually go along with it because it's SpongeBob. And this is when everything is starting to go downhill. This is one of the final episodes of Season 6, Season 5 actually, and, well, apparently in the start of Season 6, this is when SpongeBob is said to have suicidal, offensive things like completely mauling someone, and even having the most sickest ideas by having a pet owner completely ignoring the fact that their pet owner is viciously assaulted by a vicious animal. Seriously. I really hate how the tone completely changed when it became friendly in the first 3 seasons, but then afterwards, completely cruel and no heart whatsoever other than making money no matter what. Seriously, every time I completely look at a review of the special, or even a bit of animation of this, it's really difficult for me to actually understand of what's the point of having this special exist. Seriously. It feels like the plot is just completely one-dimensional. That's literally the only thing I can describe is that the writing is just one-dimensional, and they force all the characters to be one-dimensional, and that's it. Seriously, everyone is completely one-dimensional when it comes to a situation where their best friend completely left town and they need to find a way to bring them back. You see, here's how you're supposed to do in these kinds of writings. Let's just say that this happened countless of times, like a few years ago, and it's becoming a recurring thing in your life, and you just couldn't take it anymore and decided to leave. And when you completely ignore the good things that you did, There's a reason why your friends will look out for you and try to find you. But there's nothing like that. I mean, sure, there are things that they did, like the Squidward torture porns and all that kind of stuff, but that's really not the case of this special. It really doesn't. Especially that SpongeBob is completely mindless that the fact that it's actually the first time that it actually happened to him, even though it really isn't. Seriously, this is supposed to be like a different cartoon in this kind of situation. You can't just expect people like us to actually go along with it and have the emotions sucked into our brains. It doesn't work like that. And let's get into the part where they do the cliches, and that is SpongeBob having amnesia. Yeah. And to be quite honest, this amnesia thing just thrown in because, well, apparently they need to do something with SpongeBob, so they had to have him get him knocked on the head, and he completely forgot his memories of his best friends. And then towards the end, when he completely saved the town because of Bubbles, I'm not kidding, against back streets people, wasted celebrities or something, he completely becomes the mayor of New Cup City. Yeah. I know you actually expect me to actually have an actual opinion on this, but to be honest, I got absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. I just think that all the characters are still one-dimensional because of the stupid and unexecuted writing that these writers have done in this. And then towards the end, when SpongeBob got his memory back, apparently it acts like, well, it's just a thing. I mean, it just happened to everyone, so, oh well, hope you enjoyed the episode. This episode really ticks me off by not even trying. Seriously. It's one of the reasons onto why specials like these don't need to exist. And I can't even tolerate any of these specials that I've watched because it's really hard for me to understand what they're trying to do. This just proves to me that they really don't know what to do, and the only way to have SpongeBob keep continuing and make more money is to completely hype it by not having the episodes executed whatsoever. Seriously. There's a reason why people just call these normal episodes despite being a 22-minute length. I mean, if it was a 1 hour episode, then it has an excuse to be a special. But the fact that this is just 22 minutes, there's no reason to be calling this a special whatsoever. And there's no reason onto why this episode need to exist. You know, when I watch SpongeBob in the post-movie era, it just makes me really depressed and completely feel like my time is completely wasted every time I watch these. And it's one of the reasons onto why I don't like SpongeBob the way I used to back then. I mean, the pre-movie episodes kind of worked, but if you can tell by watching so many videos of people completely talk about how terrible SpongeBob is by its episodes and how they completely flantalize the characters in the most worst degree, you have to face the fact that even when it's back to normal, you pretty much moved on. Anyway, next week I'm going to be reviewing Truth or Square, which is by far even worse than Atlantis Squarepants, but I give Who Bob What Pants a 2.5 out of 10. I won't even recommend watching this whatsoever.